Madame, Jeritza and Lehmann, no doubt we could continue for a long time on Ariadne, but I cannot resist the temptation, having you both here and knowing how closely you're both connected with Richard Strauss and with more than just only Ariadne, to ask you a few more questions about your work with Richard Strauss. I seem to remember that the work immediately following Ariadne was Frau ohne Schatten, and both of you were connected with that work too.
Yes.
Madame Lehmann, what did you sing in Frau ohne
I think the Dyer's wife. And Jeritza was the empress.
Yeah, I was the empress.
Ah, and very beautiful.
And you were beautiful,
Oh,
Barbara's
beautiful.
wife.
Beautiful. Now say something nice about me. Yeah, will you?
The only, as I remember, Frau ohne Schatten,
I don't think I have so much time on the radio to tell all the nice things I think about you.
Oh, thank
you. You wouldn't believe it.
No, I wouldn't, but thank you.
Well,
but the people will believe it
That's
because they know I always... So let's go on.
Now, do tell us something about... let me say quickly about Frau ohne Schatten. Once again, it's a very special work, and once again, in spite of the success of Salome, Electra, and Rosenkavalier in this house, and from today on, I hope also, Ariadne auf Naxos, Frau ohne Schatten is another Richard Strauss opera which has not been given in this house, and which is given very little in Europe too. What is your opinion on that?
Yes, because it requires a great deal of the first class, really first class artists. Every one of them must be absolutely first class.
Yeah, but I don't think that's the only reason. The book is very confused.
I agree.
And to find through that book, through this labyrinth of words.
I didn't find myself through it.
No, I believe
Really,
that,
that's
because
true.
there are really many people. You know, I have written about it. I have written a book about the operas which I have studied and sung with Strauss, and naturally Frau ohne Schatten is in it. And believe me, in writing it, sometimes I was quite
You wrote
confused.
in the labyrinth.
I said, what's the matter now? How does it go on?
Yeah.
And that is asked too much of people,
But-
of an audience.
Very true, but...
The music is heavenly.
The music is beautiful.
Heavenly.
The music is beautiful. But I also think Madame Jeritza is quite right. It has enormous demands on the cast, starting with two sopranos. Where do you find these two sopranos for these roles? And a big mezzo part too.
And the tenor.
Yeah. Now, but tell us something about the... Were you both in the world premiere together?
Yes.
Was that in Vienna?
Yes.
Yes.
And that was Strauss again conducting it?
No, I think that was Schalk.
No, Strauss conducted
sure?
it. Yeah, I'm positive sure.
I've forgotten that.
Yes, he interrupted me too many times, so I never forget that, because I was
What-
hurt.
What kind of success was it?
Oh, tremendous.
It was a great
Oh,
success.
tremendous. It was a wonderful performance. I mean, we were all very good.
Oh, yes, we were very good, that's true.
Well, I'm glad you admit it. I'm very glad you admit it. It is so...
All right, but I don't think it was a box office.
No, it certainly
Was it?
wasn't.
No,
it never has
no,
been since.
Lotte, because I tell you, as you very cleverly said, it was a labyrinth of mysterious scenes and everything. From one scene to the other, we never know where we come and where we go.
I always feel a bad libretto, a not very good libretto, can be carried by great music, but then the libretto mustn't be as demanding as this libretto is. What I mean is, you have a stupid little story like Trovatore and beautiful music, nobody cares much.
Now,
But
for instance, pardon me to interrupt. He said to me, I wrote a beautiful part for you, the Färberin, and 4 months later, I said, I changed entire my life, my mind. You sing the Kaiserin. I said, why? And he said, because I need just the Kaiserin. And so I said, my gracious me, I told everybody I sing the Färberin, and Färberin, the people will think something is wrong. So what, do I have more? Now I come to Ariadne back in the Vorspiel. I said, do I have more to sing than the Färberin? And he said, no. I said, what do we sing in the first act? Do I have plenty of high notes? He said, not one note. You don't sing, you don't open your mouth. I said, and so what in the second act? You don't open the second act. It belongs to the Färberin. And I said, who is the Färberin? I said, Lotte Lehmann. He said, that's wonderful, but why couldn't I sing a little bit of her part too in the second act? He said, no, you start in the third act, and in the third act he has nothing to do.
Yes, you know, it's very...
I'm amazed that you're still on speaking terms to each other, my lady.
No,
No.
you know, I think it's he has explained that very, very well in his whole music.
Yeah.
I mean, for instance, when she starts, when the empress starts, before her sings the Amme. Terrible,
Yeah.
the nurse, terrible.
For
High
ages,
notes,
this is.
dreadfully. And Bella Pallen, who sang this, said once to him, look, you have written this so terribly difficult for the nurse here, and it is such an really shrieking what we have to do. And then comes the empress, and she sings so marvelously. And he says, yes, I did that purposely as an introduction, so that the empress especially shines like the sun. And Pallen gave him a wonderful answer. You have a monument in the hearts of all mezzo-sopranos.
I can believe that. But I must say, selling a new part to a soprano by telling her that she wouldn't open her mouth in 2 acts is something which I think very few composers could have done.
I took it very graciously, because I
He
know...
knew exactly, nicht wahr, that when she has the whole ending and the Färberin has nothing, nicht wahr, that would be just right for Jeritza.
Bravo, Lotte, that's good. I don't what you say, I had the last word.
Definitely.
Sometimes I think it's just as well that we have no Richard Strausses around anymore. We have enough
you would
problems.
He would
no.
laugh, he would laugh.
Everybody loved him.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't say that. He was wonderful.
He certainly was.
He was
I'm sure.
wonderful as a composer. He was wonderful as a friend and
a conductor.
And a conductor, and he was a very good statesman too. He knew what you wanted.
Yeah, I know that. Now, I know, Madame Jeritza, obviously, that you were very prominently connected also with Salome, which I think Madame Lehmann was not.
No.
How about Electra?
She was not a sinful woman.
No.
I don't know whether that is a compliment.
No, I don't take it as such.
How about Electra?
No, I have
we didn't like it. I didn't like it.
You never...
I love Electra. I think it's a
Yes,
wonderful.
but I don't like to...
No, I never did.
I don't like the whole evening dig in dirt and be so dirty. The whole performance is awful.
Yeah, the
But the music is wonderful. The Empress is glamorous.
How about the later Strauss? How about... I know that you sang Arabella, but you did not sing Arabella.
No.
Anything about Capriccio?
No,
Capriccio.
but Intermezzo. I sang intermezzo. And you see, you should give intermezzo, but it should be translated into English. The word is too important.
Thank you for the unintended plug, Madame Lehmann. I quite agree. We soon find out intermezzo is a very... Well, tell us something about intermezzo. This is something nobody knows anything about.
It is really... It has happened in Strauss's life. And he has written the libretto himself.
The book himself, yes.
And the Kapellmeister, the conductor Storch is he, and then his wife is, and I sang his wife, and she really fights through the whole opera. And
he plays cards.
He plays cards, yeah. And then at the end, everything is fine. And you know, the greatest compliment which Strauss could ever make me, he said one day, you know, Lotte, you really resemble my wife. I had to swallow 3 times before I said, thank you very much.
Now, are you quite sure that was...
But he meant it well.
Are you quite sure that was a compliment?
That was not a compliment.
It was a compliment. From his point of view, it was. He loved his wife so much. And you know, when I studied with him, Frau ohne Schatten, the Dyer's wife in Garmisch, he said to me when I went away, you have seen now scenes between me and my wife. And believe me that one of her tantrums is to me more important and more enchanting than the adoration of the whole world.
I don't think...
I swear that is true.
I believe you, Madame Lehmann, but I don't think they make husbands like this anymore.
No, perhaps not. It's better not.
It
would spoil the wives too much,
But
I think.
let's stick, if we may, let's stick with intermezzo for a moment. Do you really think, you know the work, although you haven't sung it, do you really think it's musically strong enough?
Oh, it is not on the same level as
It will be
opera.
It will be performed in concert version here this winter.
But I think that is very wrong.
Yeah, because the story is very important.
It is a comedy what has to be acted on the stage.
Yeah. Well, we cannot go on and finish talking about Strauss as we have. Madame Jeritza is showing signs of distress. But we must, Madame, you must, and Madame Lehmann...
we talk too long.
I don't think so, and there's always the scissors that can take it out. No, but we
don't
cannot.
take me out, please.
You can take anything out you want from
I
me.
don't believe that either. We will very judiciously, for every word of Jeritza that's taken out, one Lehmann will be taken out, and vice
That's
versa.
in Ariadne.
Like an
Exactly. Yes, in Ariadne.
Now you,
and it will
play,
be what I
you
just
play the role of the composer.
no, of the music teacher. And what I just said will be just as untrue as what he said in Ariadne. Right? Now, what I want to say is we cannot possibly, after having had all these fascinating highlights, which really only you two could give our audience, stop talking about Richard Strauss and von Hofmannsthal and not having said one single word about you-know-what, about Rosenkavalier. Obviously, we have talked about it often enough, but here once again, we have two ladies who in this very house, and more often in Vienna, have sung Octavian to my left and the Marschallin to the right.
Oh no, Lotte sang Marschallin and Rosenkavalier.
And
Not in the same performance.
And Sophie, she sings everything.
Yeah, as a little beginner.
Yeah.
But
You were saying only Octavian.
only
Madame
Octavian,
Jeritza.
and I recall for hours and hours and days, Strauss walked with me in the Stadtpark, and he learned that I should walk like a man, I tripled, and he walked with me for hours and hours to learn that I walk like a man. I never got that over, that too.
When you sang,
But he said it was all right.
Madame Lehmann, when you sang Octavian, where did you take your walking lessons?
I think on the stage.
But I think with her the Octavia, she was the master.
But the order was as always, you know that you were not the only soprano to do all three roles. In fact, in our present generation, Lisa della Casa has done all three in succession.
Oh,
but the order is always Sophie, Octavian, Marschallin, is it not?
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't know until recently that you sang Sophie too.
Oh yes, I was the second cast in Hamburg. Elisabeth Schumann sang,
Oh, yes.
and she was an enchanting Sophie.
Yes, I think she was the best Sophie.
I must say Rothenberger was enchanting in this performance.
Yeah.
Oh, I liked it.
Madame Lehmann is now talking about one of our present Sophies in the present presentation, and shall we say that it is a very lovely one, partly and largely because Madame Lehmann was good enough to join us again and supervise our staging. It was a most emotional occasion some months ago when we had the first performance of this Rosenkavalier, and you weren't there, Madame Jeritza. You never come to Rosenkavalier.
I was in Florida.
You never come to Rosenkavalier.
Oh, yes, I have been in Florida.
There's a story around, do contradict me if I'm misinformed, as I usually am. There's a story around that, and we know you come very often. You have your Wednesday night subscription. We're always happy to see
Wednesday,
you.
Monday, and Saturday.
Is that all?
Yes, that's all. That's all.
But rumor has it that you never come to a performance of of an opera in which there was one of your favorite roles. Is that true? Is that untrue?
Well, tell the truth, I never had a favorite performance. I suffered for every performance I ever sang, and I couldn't afford to say I like that performance better than the other, because I had to be in every one that's what the people and the audience expected from me. But I never choose a real good role for myself. But I liked very much in Huguenot the leading part, because that is a wonderful opera, and that would be just the right thing for the Metropolitan, because you have the real cast for it. You have Price, and you have the tenor, you have the... You have the...
But you didn't answer the question.
I quite agree about Huguenot, and I hope that Mr. Bing is listening. But Madame Lehmann...
Is he against it?
Well, I don't
Would
know.
be wrong.
Madame Lehmann is quite right. You gave me a wonderful speech, Madame Jeritza, and I'm most grateful for it, and you most cunningly avoided my question. And I will make it a little more specific now. Is it true that you never come to a performance of Tosca?
Well, why? Because I studied Tosca with Puccini himself, and I know every movement, although I never was the same in every performance. I don't believe that we are not a machine which you oil and it goes on and it goes the same thread, and I try to be every performance different, but I was really Puccini's creation as Tosca, and I...
So Tosca is the one exception. To Tosca, you don't come.
No.
But you
This
did.
is like I never would think Visitate in concert form or publicly out of the performance, because I promised it to Puccini. That Visitate was a drama itself, and he wanted to build it up, and it goes out, and he never permit to make a bow to give it after the aria.
I hope not.
Well, in Italy,
one
yes,
doesn't
they
do that anymore,
They
Yes,
don't
but
do
in
it.
your time,
But,
did you take vows at the end of
I
arias?
remember. I remember when in the general rehearsal in Vienna, the baritone was so excited and threw me on the floor, and I thought my nose is bleeding, and I didn't dare to get up, and so the concertmaster gave me a and
That's a tough one to get in. I
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
that, on that silent orchestra.
and I thought, if I
terrible.
raise now my face with the bloody nose, and everything would be horrible. And so all of a sudden say, basta, basta, basta. He come and say, promise me that you always will sing it on your face down. And so we rehearsed it so long till it go on. That was the scene which the people say that's so famous, and it was the outstanding scene. But it was...
And it just all happened by chance.
By chance was a curse out of the scene.
The subject is really Strauss and not Puccini. But since you have brought him up, one quick question. I seem to remember that you two ladies were also connected with a rather fabulous Puccini occasion, to wit, the first performance of the famous Trittico in Vienna. In what part were you, Madame Jeritza?
I think Georgette in Il Tabarro.
Il Tabarro and Madame
I
Lehmann.
was Sir Angelica.
Uh-huh. And
Pardon me?
I suppose by the old rules of competition, you don't remember who the third girl was. You know, there's
I
one
really
in
don't.
Gianni Schicchi, there's one too.
Yeah, I really
Wasn't it
don't.
Reininghaus?
Reining, I think it was.
Reininghaus, she married Östwick later.
Yeah, that's what I said.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, anyhow, has anyone ever done all these three parts? I know some people who have.
I don't think in Vienna had any, certainly in the time when I was
And
there.
was Puccini there at that time? For that
Yes,
performance?
yes, he came.
He was in Vienna.
Yeah.
I recall I was in Bristol, and I got a telegram to come immediately to Vienna. And I was ordered. That time we were ordered. There was not like we were ordered.
You mean a management ordered singers at that time,
Absolutely,
Madame
we
Jeritza?
were soldiers.
Don't
We
make
were-
me envious.
Yes, you might be, because we were soldiers, and
Well-
we were under time. And I was ordered back to Vienna, and Puccini came on Monday to the train to meet me, and she said, you have to sing on Saturday Il Tabarro. I said,
You mean you didn't know it at all?
I didn't know
You know, he took
anything.
the place of somebody else,
Yeah.
whom Puccini didn't like. I remember that very well.
And
How can
I
you learn a
said,
part in 3 days?
in 3 days, I said, let me sing first Tosca, and Wednesday the performance was scheduled in his honor, a gala performance. So I sang the Tosca on Wednesday, and he came right away home after the performance with me and played for me the first time that part of Il Tabarro. Of
Had you ever heard
Georgette.
the opera before?
I never heard nothing, and so from Thursday till Saturday I learned the part and sang really Saturday evening was the premiere. And then he insisted he'd like to have a white blouse with big red dots. In whole Vienna was not big red dots possible. So he went and we bought 3 yards of a white material, and he himself with a red pencil painted the dots, and I had a blouse with red dots.
Well, that
And
was
you
Oh,
something.
I remember. You looked very beautiful. I remember
Yeah, I
that.
look a real Frenchie.
You did.
Well, that's
Thank you,
the
Lotte.
idea.
Thank you. You're such a darling.
That leads me quite easily to a final question, which I really didn't have in mind, but it's too tempting, and I cannot
This will be something
Now be
terrible.
careful. Be
overlook
careful.
it. No, it was terrible all the time. This time you will be in an easy position, but some other people might not be. Madame Jeritza, you just mentioned that you were, quote, ordered, unquote, to come back from Brussels, where you happened to be, to learn a role in 3 days. Now, you know perfectly well that no such thing could be done today. Are you both ladies implying, or more than implying, that there was more discipline and more rehearsing in your
of
time?
I think
course.
so.
Oh, my
Yes.
gracious. We were real soldiers. they ordered us, and we were there on the dot. We had to be 15 minutes before the rehearsal, and sometimes we had at 1 o'clock in the night was the performance over, like Wagner and so. And the next day there was no excuse. We had to be on the stage and rehearse.
Next morning?
Next morning, yes.
After
In the morning,
dinner or
everything in the
something like
night.
that?
No, in the morning, and we work. But the trouble is, we, as Strauss said, we will die as students, and I'm very happy about it because I like to die as a student. You never learn enough, and you never will learn enough because there are so many things. Time marches on, and you have to work with the time. Now, those days, if a student a year learns it like to be right away big prima donna. They don't want to rehearse. Now I come in bed with all the prima donnas.
Yes, you will.
But I apologize for that, but I give them a good advice. You only succeed and only make yourself éternellement if you really study and try to die as a student. That's my opinion.
But
I'm right.
I think that our singers nowadays have a really fantastic technique. It is the
how you get the technique if you don't study?
Yeah, but they do. They must do. They don't get that from heaven.
I personally think it isn't a question of technique so much. I agree with Madame Lehmann. We have some pretty good singing in our young singers,
my goodness,
American
of
singers.
course.
But what is it really that has changed? I think what has changed is not so much, or if the attitude of the singers has changed, this is not a cause, this is a consequence. The temptations are so much bigger.
I know what you mean.
In your time, although I know that your time
now,
is a very short time ago.
Jeritza, let me say something. We have loved the Vienna Opera. We have loved the Metropolitan. We looked at it as our musical home. We were very proud if we had a marvelous ensemble.
And that is
today. And that is today not anymore. It is too much today.
Money-minded. But I think I have to ask to take that off what I say about the prima donnas not learning. Otherwise, now they love me, then they will hate me.
Well, we discussed that. No, but one thing is very important, which is not even to your credit because you were not responsible for it. You did not have the temptations that young singers have today.
No,
you could not sing Tosca in Vienna Monday night, fly to New York on Tuesday, rehearse for an hour Wednesday morning, and sing Tosca in New York.
But it's not good. It's not good
it's
for
not
them.
good for them.
Certainly isn't good.
I don't approve with you because we wouldn't have done it. We wouldn't have
I
done
don't
it.
know, Mitzi.
That is
I don't know. I think if today if I would be a singer yet, I think I would also surrender to this jet age and would go.
No, I won't.
I'm not so
You
virtuous.
see, Madame Jeritza,
I
it's always
wouldn't.
very easy to resist temptation if there is none.
Yes.
I don't.
May I say in conclusion, Madame Jeritza, Madame Lehmann, I think that two great singers, such as you, whether you teach or have given up teaching, or whatever you do, you never retire.
Oh, no. I
You
don't
never
think I
retire.
can. Yeah.
You go to opera, you think about opera, you dream about opera. Isn't that true?
Oh, yes, and I write and I paint and I do a lot of things.
I love your paintings, but you never sent
Have
me
you
one.
seen them?
You have to send me one.
So. Oh, you love them ahead without knowing them.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, I saw them.
You saw them.
Well, may I say, and it sounds trivial if I just say thank you. I don't know what our audiences will feel. I know that I haven't had an afternoon as wonderful, as entertaining, and, may I say, as instructive as this one. Thank you, Madame Jeritza.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Madame Lehmann.
Thank you, John.
Goodbye, Lotte. It was a privilege and happy moment.